What is the dark night of the soul, and how the experience I went through gave me my soul purpose? Now, this video is a must watch if you feel you are going through a really tough, difficult time in your life. And it could be brought on by business burnout. That was my experience. It could be brought on by a particular situation, maybe a death in the family, or a really hard situation that you feel stuck and you can't see any way out. Maybe it's a health issue that's come up and you just are basically in a bit of a state of inner chaos and you feel there's no meaning in life. You feel like there's no way out. You feel down, depressed, stressed, and it's just unbearable. If you're there right now, I absolutely feel for you, because that's where I was about 6-7 years ago now, and it is what I later on realised, it's called your dark night of the soul. You may not be able to receive this message as what it's meant to be for you right now. It may not land too well. However, this is part of your spiritual awakening. Now, if you like what you've heard in this video so far, then stick around as it will finish on a high note. Hi, my name is Lillian and I'm here helping online spiritual coaches, healers, practitioners, therapists, supercharge your online coaching business to success. I also have the Soul Central directory, and it goes out each month to over 10,000 plus manifestors, soul searchers and seekers, high achievers. So if you feel your online coaching business services will match that audience, then feel free to like this video, subscribe, and message below in the comments Soul Central directory, and I'll get to that information over to you. Okay, so what is the dark night of the soul and how it led me to my soul purpose? Now, you could be either two types of viewers right now watching this video. You could be going through a really difficult patch right now, or you could be an X amount of time away from that difficult patch and now you're reflecting back. Like what Steve Jobs says, you can only figure things out sometimes when you connect the dots looking back. So I realised what the dark night of the soul was a few years after I was in my dark night of the soul. So depression, stress, burnout, all the nasties for me that came from running and being exhausted by a very successful business at the time over in my earlier days in business in Shanghai, China, where I had 2 indoor cycling studios. So it got me into a state of complete fatigue, exhaustion. I was massively depleted. I was beaten, basically. I wasn't ready or prepared for the success I experienced in my business, and I went through depression, really. It took me a couple of years to get into that state, because what I was doing before I got into that real bad state in my head was I just ignored all the signals that my body was giving me. I was ignoring all the headaches. I was ignoring looking after myself. I was just so committed to my business and my client base and everyone else around me apart from myself, that over a couple of years I just slowly fell into this whole complete dark space. And if that's you right now, then I'm here to hopefully bring some hope and light to your situation. And if you are maybe reflecting back to a situation, then maybe this might help you understand what that was all for. So really, what I later found out, it is called the dark night of the soul. And it is the start of your spiritual awakening. And how powerful is that? We've all heard of the phrase a wake-up call, and it could be brought on by a number of things: a car accident, a death, something else. But in my case, it was business burnout. And in a nutshell, it's basically a collapse of your perceived meaning of what life actually is. And my inner state at the time was an inner state of dark depression. So my couple of pointers here, if this is you right now, is to, if as hard as it is to accept where you are. It's your spiritual awakening, and you'll feel better for it in the time that will follow on. But for now, that doesn't give you too much comfort. But if you can, as much as you can, just relax into the experience. I remember this one time where I could really feel my ego just just grabbing onto my old self. It was quite a crazy experience. I was pregnant at the time. I was in my bedroom and I could feel it. It felt so tangible even. I could feel my ego just gripping onto the old self, and I had no idea what was going on. I didn't even know I was depressed at the time, but looking back now I know what it was. But it's so hard to let go of these ideas and ways of thinking and what you're believing. And really the whole process is for you to let go of your old version of yourself, so then you can be born into something completely amazing and brand new as you move forward and grow. And when you do bounce back, you actually bounce into a higher state of consciousness. And this is where I found my newfound purpose in my business. So this is over a stretch now of 11 years I've been in business, and I had the highs at the start, and then I crashed into the middle in the low pay place, even though I was making loads of money and I was very successful in China, but it completely battered me and my health. And it took me a few years to come back out of that using natural resources. And looking back, it was just all part of the bigger picture. So if you are the viewer right now who's reflecting back to a really difficult time, you must admit, right, you feel you are in a better place. You probably feel you are even a different person from that time. And that is the beauty of this particular spiritual journey. It's there as your wake-up call to shake you up, to have part of your ego melt away so you can move forward into a bigger version and better version of yourself. And my purpose right now is to, you're witnessing it right now, is to give back, to pay forward all that I've learned. I've operated business from many different mindsets, many different states of consciousness and highs and lows. And I don't want people to feel the pain that I went through. I never wanted to hurt myself. I didn't go that deep. If I could have an off button at the time, I would have just switched it on, because it was just so I think when you have that dark place in your head that you actually visit, you know never to go back. And I want people to never go back to their dark place. And when it comes to business, I know now that there are other ways of operating a business without sacrificing your whole self and your whole energy levels and your whole everything into business. To strike that balance is definitely how you will win in business, and how your business will get the results that you've been really, really working hard towards achieving. So just to recap, this whole dark night of the soul is horrible, dark and scary at the time, but basically it's supposed to happen to you. It's part of your spiritual awakening journey. And it's only when time has passed, you can then connect the dots looking back, that it's actually a blessing in your life to have gone through that, because you know then that that was your old version and now you've been reborn into a whole new version, and that usually ends up you being on a better path when it comes to your soul purpose. So I hope you found this video useful. If you want to, then feel free to share your experiences with the dark night of the soul if you have been through one, and I'm here in your corner if you do need a helping hand in any way. And also, if you would like a free listing in the Soul Central directory, then feel free to like this video, subscribe and leave a comment below, Soul Central directory, and I'll send you over the information and I'll definitely get you into the next edition. Thanks ever so much for listening, and here's to your business success.